Here I am doing a quick update of the garden this year, and here we go. We have our blueberries. We've been picking them. They are wonderful and big, but they're just basically starting. You can see a lot of them are still green. In this bed we have a few plants. We have grapes. We have bush beans or pole beans growing up the back here as well. We have broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, you name it. Everything is in here, and the sunflowers have sort of taken off. In this bed, this was full of lettuce. We have already eaten all the lettuce, and I apparently have a sunflower garden. I have more lettuces coming, so soon they'll be down below there, and it'll be nice because they'll keep them shaded. Here's my other blueberry garden over here. It's not as far as long as the one I just showed you. So it's, I get them in 2 stages, which is sort of nice. Here is my asparagus bed. So for the first time, I built an asparagus bed this year. And it also has tomato plants in it because they're supposed to grow very well with it. Nasturtiums have taken over. And then these are peas that I'm growing here. These are the shelling peas. And they're just, oh, so good. We've been munching away on them. Over here there's some additional broccoli plants along with the lavender, which is blooming. And this is some sort of squash. I think this is the little pumpkins. And the reason I say I'm not sure which squash I planted in what bed, so I have spaghetti squash, I have butternut, I have the pumpkins, and I also have the fiesta. So along with this is also the kale. I planted the dinosaur kale here because I wanted to make some kale chips this year. Strawberry bed is over there. You can see I have some huge strawberries, and those are from a few years ago. And then these new plants I just planted this year. I ripped out all my ever-bearing ones, and I planted just the ones that produce once a year. And I put my next set of lettuces in here because I didn't have room anywhere else in the garden. So back over here, this is corn in this bed and spaghetti squash, and there is some leftover onions from last year, so I'm letting them go to seed, and then I'll plant them in the spring. Here is some more squash of some sort. We'll wait till fall and see what we have, and it gets, you know, it's a surprise. And a couple of more of the rab broccolis. Here we have, again, squash and peas and sweet peas. My first sweet pea is out here. It is beautiful. And these are the snap peas. And we've been eating them for a while. Potato patch, again, more shelling peas. And these ones, it's interesting because these ones aren't as far along as the ones I previously showed you. So it just goes to show a hotter location, they produce faster. We've already had our first round of potatoes. Oh, they're so good. And they're delicious. I actually planted them, a lot of them, in January. And they came up just fine. So before I go through the rest of the garden over there, I'll take you through the greenhouse. And so you can see what's growing in here. So what we have is tomatoes. We have pepper plants. We have, I'll back up a bit here. We have cucumbers. And we actually have little baby cucumbers growing already down there. We have tomatoes on the tomato plants, as you can see here. And here's some basil and more peppers. And these are the field cucumbers for doing dill pickles and stuff like that. So basically down here we have more tomatoes, more peppers, more cucumbers, and the likes of that. So back out to the garden. Now this, I am sure, is my spaghetti squash, because I can't keep it in the bed. It just roams around. Every day I pick it up and I throw it back on top, and every day I come out like this and it's on the ground. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. As you can see, at the bottom of my beds here is netting. And I've put that on because that is my solution to the quail problem this year. I have about 30 quail in the yard, and they dig up everything. So when I first put netting over everything, and then as the plants grow, I put this down, and it's been a great solution. So in this bed is more broccolis. I like broccolis. And there's kale at the other end, and then these are drying beans. They're the black turtle beans. In here, besides all the sunflower seeds, we have kohlrabi. We have, these are all the root vegetables, beets, carrots, and parsnips. And as a matter of fact, we had beets and carrots out of the garden last night, and they were so good, along with the fresh potatoes. There's more peas there, and down at this end is spinach, and it's just about finished. But we have been so enjoying it. It's been wonderful. So more kale here. Here's the rhubarb patch. This is the herb garden, and earlier this year I pulled up all the horseradish, which is this broadleaf down here. And while it's been growing, we have just stuck in a tomato plant. Here is the garlic from last year, and I've already cut up all the garlic scapes off of it, and we've eaten it. And this is the scarlet runners that are just coming along. Over here is more red potatoes. And down at the end here are bush beans. These are a different kind of bean. Forget what they're called, but they're a drying bean. And they're sort of a brown spotted one. I'll put the name down below. But they're a lovely bean to dry for the winter. And down in below here we actually have a sweet potato growing, although you really can't see it very much. This is the onion and celery bed. Now I'm not sure about the onions. We've got purple onions this year because I couldn't find any Kelsey. And so I don't know how big they're going to grow. So we'll wait and see what they look like. And this is all celery, and it's growing lovely. Now one thing is both these require lots of water. So I sort of kept them together so I can keep them all watered really well. This is sort of the extent of my garden this year, and everything is growing wonderfully. There's a lettuce that's gone to seed in the herb garden. I've just been planting everything everywhere because I ran out of room. You know, it's tough to be a gardener. Anyway, it is a lovely day here today. The sun is shining, the garden is growing as I'm walking through it, and I'll leave you with one last view of a squash blossom. Have a great day.